Hi friends, welcome to Parenting with Winnie. Sorry my voice is a little hoarse. I've been having a cold, but I hope you can hear me clearly. So happy to be here. Today I want to start by reading a scripture, just a little small scripture in the Bible that says, it's in the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 18, and it says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keeps the law is happy. A servant will not be corrected by words, for though he understands, he will not answer." As parents, we are supposed to have a vision. If we do not have a vision, our children are going to perish. If our children perish, the community is perishing, the church is perishing, the leadership in the politics is perishing. It all starts in our home. However, sometimes we feel like there are like ropes pulling us from our background, from the past, behaviors that have been there, like they've done to us as children. We've grown through them and we do not know what else. Like we've become part of those patterns and we think that is the way it is done in my family. Today, I want to talk about generational cycle breakers. Or some people call them generational curses. Some will call them generational sins. Some, I don't know what you call them. But whichever evil cycle that is in your family, do you know that you have the capacity and the power to break it? To become a cycle breaker, to become a generational evil breaker, to become a person, to become that person that is going to stand and become um, like the point of contact, the first person to do it, to stand and say, no, in this blood lineage, I am changing history. I am changing this. I am refusing what I've been told, what I have seen, what I have lived. I am saying that today I'm standing between the past generation and the generations that will come before me. What does it require as a parent? Basically, what it means, you are going to face challenges. Because if you were born in a home that drinks alcohol, there will still be alcohol being served in that home. If you were born in an abusive family, there is still going to be abuse in that family. And here you are standing up to say, no, I am coming to say that between this generation and the coming one, in this family, there is going to be a difference. So you are becoming a generational cycle breaker for you and for the future children. Okay? So, in other words, you're saying, I want to be different. So, how do you start? One, first look at the belief patterns and the toxic behaviors in your bloodline. First, identify them. Generation trauma is passed down through us. In most times when we see behaviors like this, we rush to the prayer mountain to bind them, to refuse them. But after you come back from that prayer mountain, I want you to go back to your closet, to your room, close your room, and pray for you. Refuse to be the person that is going to pass on the abuse, the money issues, miscommunications, addictions, relationship problems, all these things that you have seen in your family. It could be just anger and it has become toxic. It could be narcissistic behaviors that you have been witnessing in your family. So, number one, identify them and say, these are the behaviors that I see that I don't want to be passed on to my children and their children until more generations that are coming. So, what are they? You might have stuck to those beliefs. Now you look back and you just disagree. After that, identify the behaviors that you are ready to break free from. What is that behavior? Think about it. Look around your family and say, I think I have passed on this behavior. I think I manifest this in my talking, in my behaviors, in the things I do. When visitors come, the first thing I serve is alcohol. I grew up in a family where my auntie wouldn't see you opening a bottle of beer for guests. Anywhere. Like, how? She couldn't allow us. I appreciate her so much. So, it takes effort and a heart on your part. And if you receive negative feedback from your family that doesn't like how you're changing, you may need to let go of communication with them for a time until you fully get yourself healed and onto the new path. And there is 100% possibilities to change behaviors. So first change yourself, because there is no way you're going to change others, but you can change yourself. Number 3, heal your childhood trauma. In dysfunctional family dynamics, there will be chaos, which can leave a child wounded. For example, if there is alcohol abuse or addiction in the family, or even if it may not be in your primary family, but maybe within your relatives, there could be pain that is being passed on. So it is very, very important that you look back on your past and work to let go of some of the hurt from the past. Childhood trauma can show itself in many different ways until we come face to face with it. So go into your feelings. For example, maybe you're drawn. I've seen kids that get drawn, young girls that get drawn to men who drink and get abusive. This is an what am I saying? An unhealthy family cycle. Your father was a drunkard, you get married to a drunkard, you're a drunkard yourself, and you think it is normal. No, it is not. And what if it is not you who is drinking, but you keep going for those men? Yes, even if you aren't the one drinking, but you're still putting up with the behavior of the other person. So, if you realize that you are attracting such people into your blood lineage, watch out. You need to help yourself heal. You may write down one way that I saw that I was reading about, for example, was writing something down, So like you may need to write a letter to your parents or grandparents or whoever caused you traumatic experiences. Then you can explain in the letter how their lifestyle has affected you, and then you've forgiven them. And if you don't give them the letter, you get it out on paper so you can work through it. You could even set the paper on fire, release it, and then pray over it. That is one way of like bringing out the pain, because I know that most people will not go face a counselor, will not go face someone to help them. So just write it down, burn whatever you have written. After you have burnt it, pray over it, release and let go of any trauma. Number 4, begin inner child and shadow work. Yeah. Inner child work. We all have an inner child representing the young and naive little us from our childhood. I see it in me. So when we grow up in toxic family dynamics, the inner child is often not heard, not allowed to be themselves, not allowed to have the proper fun, the love, the compassion that they deserve. So because of this trauma, the inner child gets wounded. So when we want to break free from generational cycles or curses or evil, whatever, we must work to connect to our inner child. Until we connect to our inner child or shadow, for that matter, they can both run the show through our subconscious, and we will repeat bad behaviors over and over again. So don't neglect your inner child work. Because if you do, she's going to hold you back when you're trying to become a generational cycle breaker. You know? So go in there, look at your child, and work on her. And our shadow is the negative aspect of ourselves. We have repressed over the years. Like, you have that child, you have that thing that you love, but somehow you lived repressing it. My goodness, I don't know what's wrong with my tongue today. It's just not bringing out the words the way they should come out. So again, in these dysfunctional families, your family could have told you that being creative or artistic was wrong. And maybe a child who loves music, who loves art, who loves drawing, who loves all these things. So you repressed. Ooh, I got the word this time. So you replaced that part of yourself because they told you that you couldn't make any money. Because they told you, oh, you cannot sing. So once we integrate the shadow and heal the inner child's wound, we will be able to become our authentic selves, and therefore creating new habits and breaking these generational cycles, generational curses, and then we'll become much better. And when it becomes easier for us, then we can become different people. Number 5, we're going to set healthy boundaries with our families. Now, because you know what you like, what you don't, what you are on a journey, therefore set the standards. You know, we must get out of our comfort zone to make necessary changes and to become that person that is going to become different in your family. Otherwise, if you don't become so firm, you risk being pulled back into the old patterns because, hey, they feel comfortable, right? But we are saying, no, I am doing what no one else has done just because I know that it is the right thing to do. And I don't want my child to fall to be hurt the way I was. Number 6, start new patterns or routines. You could start like a self-care routine. Basically, as a parent, my self-care routine is when I get a quiet time to read my Bible or read a very good book. Like, there are so many good books. I sit under a tree and I read this book. I feel like I'm talking to those authors. It is something I love. Time to pray, time to worship, time to sing. Those are the moments. Oh, your self-care might be just taking a walk. Your self-care might be going for a good massage. Your self-care might be going to a sauna and sweating the bad fat out. Your self-care, I don't know what your self-care is. Or maybe just meeting the girls, the boys, and having fun. I know my husband would tell me now it's boys' time. We would be hanging out, and then he goes, Mom, do you want to drive home? I'm going to have a boys' time now. And that's his self-care. So what is your self-care routine? You know, start today and practice your self-care routine. After you have practiced your self-care routine, now you need to look around you and say, is there anyone I can look up to? And that is going to be your next your next assignment. You've done all that, but who are you looking up to? I have my parenting coach, and those people really helped me. But I want to introduce to you some people that became pattern breakers in the Bible. When we see, a friend of mine sent me a podcast that I fell in love with, and I listened to the story of Daniel. And I've been wanting to preach about Daniel. Every time I read about his ways at 17, I feel like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Sometimes when we sit, either as parents, as Christians, as just responsible people who are looking at what is taking place in the world, we say, oh, the world has crumpled, everything has come to an end. But have you ever thought about Daniel's time? His life was turned upside down at the age of 17. He was raised as a member of the Jewish nobility, but this Hebrew teenage is later on captured when his city Jerusalem is captured. And then he finds himself in Babylon. I think it was him and his 3 friends. They are trained there. They are given unclean food. They are trained to serve the king. Everything just changes. But look at this young man. He's in there. They serve him big food. Imagine a palace. But he says, I'll eat vegetables and drink some water and I'll still be fine. Oh, this kid. He lives that kind of a life. He never defiled himself throughout time. Maybe what is capturing our children today? The television, the internet, their phones. Like everyone is offering big, ugly stuff. But have we trained our children to say, no, I'll drink water and still be fine. I'll use the phone, but use it responsibly. When the last time comes and Daniel is thrown into the lion's den, that is when we see him as a hero. But I want to say that the hero, the real hero in him, was raised before he was 17 years old. In other words, by the time Daniel turns 17 and is captured and is in wrong hands, his character is already formed. He already knows who he is. He already knows what his faith is. He already knows who he believes. That is why when he's out of the lion's den, he tells Nebuchadnezzar, God shut the lion's mouth. He didn't want to say, oh, I did it, oh, I made it. No, he knew who was doing it. His faith was built before. Without the vision, the people perish. Standing there, guard your children, protect them from the evil one, so that by the time the devil comes to tempt them, by the time the world changes, their personality is already formed. And I think as a parent, you can agree with me that by 17, you already see who your child is. Have you broken the generation curses? As you start to break the generational curses, first change yourself. First say, this is my vision and my children are going to be different. And work on that. I also want to talk about Mary, the mother of Jesus. Mary, the mother of Jesus, We just see, oh, a virgin girl that is pregnant. But wait a minute. This kid was taught sexual purity at home because this is a very young girl. Where did she learn sexual purity from? She learned it at home. So we are looking at these biblical heroes at the time of being a hero, but we are not taken back to see their life history. How did they arrive to this? How did they reach here? How did they reach a moment where they are saying, yes, I know who I am. I am not defiling my body. Can you imagine when Mary told people, I am pregnant, but I am a virgin? I can imagine how many people laughed. But she knew what she was talking about, and she gives birth to a Christ. If I come to talk about biblical heroes that broke patterns, Moses that could not talk, but delivers a whole nation, if I would talk about biblical heroes, I can go on and on and on. But today my point is one. Without the vision, we're going to perish. Our children are going to perish. The communities are perishing. And therefore, I want to say, take up your stand and say, between me and the past generation, I am going to raise a different generation. I'm going to raise a child that is going to love God. I am going to be different so that I can raise a different generation. It doesn't matter if the world is crumbling, it's not going to crumble with me. I am going to stand tall. I don't think anyone is going to throw you in a lion's den, but there are so many things that you're going to find yourself in that look exactly like what Daniel saw then. That is my message today. Go become the world shaker, the history maker, and let me tell you, becoming a history maker, becoming a generational changer doesn't mean that it shouts, it's loud, it's up there on television. No, it takes place behind scenes, in our homes, inside our closed doors. What we say, what we do, but especially our words. Friends, parents' words hurt, but they also build. Please speak wisdom. Please speak kindness. Pass on kindness. Pass on gentleness. Go use your words and create a difference. But apart from words, go live what you want them to do. You remember what they say, monkey see, monkey do? That is exactly what happens in our families. I love you. God bless you. Hope to see you next time. Let me know in the comments. I love comments, friends. Let me see your comments. Let me know what generational problems you are facing, you are fighting, you are working on. What is that one thing that you think that we should all be praying for, that you see that is rampant in today's world? God bless you. You take care. Love from all of us at Parenting with Winnie. See you next time. Bye.